I am beating every N64 game, and I mean all of them. The twist is, the next game I play is randomly selected, so I have no clue what's coming next. This is the journey to beating every N64 game. Game number 161, Custom Robo. Released exclusively in Japan in 1999, this game was developed by Noise and published by Nintendo themselves. Now, I know what you're thinking. Aw, geez, another Japanese game? Well, we got scammed in the US this time. This game is awesome. This is one where I genuinely can't understand why we didn't get it. Maybe the culture at the time didn't match up or something? I don't know. Custom Robo did get international releases later on the GameCube and Nintendo DS. I hadn't heard of this game before, but it does have a decent following online. This game was popular enough to receive a fan-made English translation patch, which I was very thankful for. Anyway, strap in for one of the more unique games on the console. Let's get into it. This game has a single-player story mode, so that's what we'll be doing to beat this game. It opens with a rather intense scene of two robots fighting. Our character, who I named Thab, then rolls out of bed. It was some kind of dream. Our mom walks in and says we're dreaming about Custom Robo. In the living room, our mom gives us our own Custom Robo called Ray. Also, I'd just like to note that massive CRT in the room. I guarantee that would weigh over 500 pounds. Our cousin Shinichi shows up and he's going to teach us how to use the Robo. He says the first person to make eye contact with a Robo will become their owner. Seems like it'd be easy to commit theft in this world. It shows us walking along an overworld where we are taller than the buildings. We're headed to the Robo station to learn how to use this thing. This dude with wild hair named Hayao asks us if we're the transfer student, then asks if we're new to using Custom Robo. I said yes, then he got mad at me. Dude, you asked me the question. What's your problem? There was a battle going on with everyone crowded around. Apparently the champion of this is named Mamoru. This is his sister Yurie. She doesn't battle, she just watches him fight. Shinichi returns and takes us upstairs. These Holosseum decks are where the battles take place. He's gonna fight me without attacking back just to let me get used to the controls. I got into the battle and it starts with this machine launching both cubes off in different directions. When they're spinning around, I swear it sounds like a cartoon effect of a skeleton teeth rattling. The cubes get launched, then the Robos expand. For now, I was just running around and blasting Shinichi with my gun. But yeah, there wasn't too much happening here. It was nice to beat him up like that though. When one player loses all 1000 HP, it's over. Shinichi wanted to fight again, and this time he'd actually attack me. He taught me I could release pods with Z and launch bombs with B. The pods are weird. It's like these rats that come out and explode after a while. The bomb allows me to choose a location for it to land. However, I found the best way to use it is just to tap it because it generally places it where the opponent currently is. It was still incredibly easy at this point. Now Shinichi taught me how to find people who want to battle. If someone's next to a Holosseum deck and they're tossing their cube, that means they're looking to fight. This guy said his Robo was named Propane. Oh snap, it's Hank Hill. Before this fight, Shinichi taught me about the cube launch at the start. Depending on what side you land on, it takes different times to expand. Landing on your feet is the best, and landing on your head is the worst. This guy's Robo was huge and super slow. I felt so overpowered here because he had no chance at dodging my attacks. In the next fight, I learned I could jump. In the air, I can dash up to 2 times as well. The pieces are all starting to come together. This game has a lot of variety in the battles, and it gets pretty intense later on. For beating that guy, I got a speed pod part. Usually you gain a new part when you beat someone. Taking this to the parts generator unlocks it for your Robo. I had no idea what it did for now though. He then took us to the park to battle against a local tournament winner named Karin. She says she's not going to take this seriously because we're new. Yeah, sure, whatever. Oh hey, this is random, but while I was playing this, our dog Harley had puppies. They all ended up going away to good homes. Before each battle you can customize your robot. Get it? Like the name of the game. That speed pod I unlocked was my Z move. You can take your Robo to a practice arena to test out any new parts, which is pretty cool. This speed pod kept them in place briefly, then zoomed toward the enemy. Karin was a bit tougher than the people before. Her gun shot out 3 lines of bullets, so it was near impossible to miss. Still though, it was easy so far. She said there was a tournament coming up soon at City Hall. For now, I went back home and went to sleep. The game saves every time you end a day. The next day, I went to City Hall where Hayao was bragging about how good he'd totally be if he did Custom Robo. Talk is cheap, buddy. At the park, we met this green-haired guy named Leaked. He was talking some mad trash about how I'm not worth his time to battle. However, if I can beat these 3 people here in the park, he'll fight me. In the first fight, this girl was using a tiny Robo. These things are so annoying. They take more damage, but since they're so fast, it's hard to hit them sometimes. I also equipped that triple shot gun this fight, and it was honestly seeming kind of worse. Shooting them once guaranteed a knockdown. When you're down, you can still be damaged. After a set time, you go into a rebirth state where you're invulnerable to prevent getting stun locked infinitely. But yeah, I had to fight all these people. So I'll take this time to talk about the graphics and audio. The graphics are great for the N64. Pretty much everything in battle looks good, especially all the textures. The game doesn't lag whatsoever in a fight either, which is awesome. The graphics in the overworld look kind of like a SNES game, but I think that's okay. The SNES looked awesome too. The music is generally solid too. During battle it's super fast paced, and in the overworld it's more chill songs. The sound effects of all the Robo attacks are good as well. I beat these 3 people, then went to Leaked to accept his challenge. Instead, he came up with an excuse as to why we don't have to battle. Karin showed up and forced him to fight me anyway. Then she brought up how he had a secret Gatling gun power-up, so she made him show that off too. This fight was a bit weird. He mostly was just running around launching bombs. I think it was the game trying to not be too hard yet. Every now and then though, he'd shoot the Gatling gun and it did heavy damage. We agreed to not swap parts in this fight, so I didn't get to take it from him, unfortunately. The next day I went to the park for a training session with Karin. She set up battles for me with 3 different people and inserted some special maps into the mix. This one's pretty cool. It has a train driving around that causes varying levels of obstacles. I think this game has over 30 different battle maps and they're all quite unique. It's great how varied they feel. So I beat those guys, and there was one more day before the tournament at City Hall. Hayao finally decided to battle against me. You know, after all the trash he's talked in the past. I expected him to put up a good challenge, but nope, he barely did anything. I barely even lost any health. What a pushover. Before going to the tournament, our dad asked us to bring our mom some lunch. She works at the hospital, so I went there first. Yurie and Mamoru were there, and you'd think we'd be freaking out over the world champ being there, but we just kind of ignored him. We found our mom on the top floor. Apparently she's the chief of medicine here. She thanked us and introduced us to her assistant, Homura. At City Hall, it was time for the big tourney. My first opponent was this guy named Fukashi. He keeps referring to himself as the Great Fukashi. The design kind of reminds me of Rex Raptor from Yu-Gi-Oh! I'd unlocked the Gatling gun from the previous win, and this thing is awesome. Especially against his gigantic Robo. The DPS is off the charts. I expected a bit more of a fight, but nah, this was a free win. Fukashi said he only lost cause he's sick and his stomach hurts and he has a fever. Shinichi was my next opponent, and he had a gun that shot in a vertical arc. This let him shoot me from behind cover, something I haven't dealt with before. Against the small Robos like this, the Gatling gun had a problem of knocking them back too far. It was still stronger than anything else I had though. It was a bit tougher than the last, but I still won comfortably. Hayao was next, and it was uneventful. Easy win. Leaked was my semi-finals opponent, and this showed a flaw of the Gatling gun. If you shoot it while they're moving away from you, it's likely to miss. You can't partially shoot it, so you're stunned until it stops. If they punish at that moment, you're screwed. No punishments here though. The AI was still taking it a bit easy on me. Leaked cries for losing and still thinks we're bad. I beat you though. My finals opponent was Karin, and it was another easy win. It was feeling easy at this point, so I was hoping the game would get harder. The mayor awards us with a trophy for winning the tournament. I'm sure Leaked loves standing next to me there. For winning, I gained entry into the Super Commander tournament, which has people from all over the country. From now on, when I go to sleep, the trophy I won is on the shelf. Kind of a cool detail. The next day, Shinichi told me Karin was in trouble at the park. Arriving there, it turns out Fukashi kicked some children off the Holosseum deck, and she was trying to get him to leave. He got excited when I arrived and asked if I remembered who he was. Naturally, I said, who are you? He got so mad about that, so he wanted to battle. First though, he said I had to beat 2 children if I wanted to fight him. Wow dude, you're real tough. So anyway, I beat those kids, then whooped Fukashi's butt. He blamed it on bad luck and said I was terrible. Yep, that makes sense. Upon storming off, Fukashi dropped his ID card. We wanted to return it, and one of the kids said he was at a mansion trying to meet someone named Katleya. So we went to her mansion. Fukashi keeps begging to get in every day, but they won't let him. Pretty on brand. Once we showed up, Katleya says we can stay as a special treat. Okay, that was weird. Everyone here was a girl. One girl said this was her garden party and they don't use uncouth words like competition, fight, or match. They duel gracefully here and eat delicious food. Seems like a great time. I swear some of the dialogue with non-essential NPCs is so strange. This girl just goes off on how her parents are never around, so she's super lonely all the time. Dang, that came out of nowhere. Speaking to Katleya, she says she's the daughter of the president of Lambda Corps. They are the company that manufactures Custom Robo. That explains why she's so rich. She orders 2 of her bodyguard goons to come over and battle me because she wants to test my strength. Fukashi tried to jump in. God, can this guy get any more annoying? This first bodyguard was the first time I had any trouble in battle. He was using his explosives a bit more aggressively. Not only that, he had this weapon that just shot once and dealt big damage. And I just want to say, I absolutely love this arena. Just robots launching explosives all over a conveyor belt sushi establishment. I found that with the gun he was using, I wanted to stay close. If I was far away, he easily had the advantage. Winning the battle gave me his sniper rifle part, so that was cool. After beating those 2 dudes, she called her grandpa over to fight me. She said he had a brand new gun not publicly released called the Hornet gun. This dude had an old man robot and was jumping around like crazy. The Hornet gun sends out 5 massive hornets that close in on me. The damage from it was so high. Also, yes, we're now fighting on a birthday cake. Once I'd beaten him, she said she thought all the local commanders were trash, but maybe I've changed her mind. Doesn't mean she's gonna take the time to fight me though. Maybe we'll see her in that Super Commander tournament later. On our way back home, 2 kids came out of the station saying there was a foreign commander who kept beating Karin and he had something special called a flame gun. This guy is Jake, and I guess he's supposed to be the American of the game. He came here after hearing how Lambda Corps was leading the world in robo manufacturing, but he wonders why everyone here he finds sucks at battling. So I decided to show him what's up. His flame gun is a lot like the Gatling gun, except it travels a bit slower and has a wider range. Still though, he was no match for me, cause I'm awesome. He said my tactics were too simple and straightforward and I'd never get far at the tournament. Buddy, I just destroyed you. Your tactics are trash. The next day, it was time for the first part of the Super Commander tournament, and of course, Fukashi is here. He says despite all my bad mouthing I've done to him, he's gonna look past all that and give me the pleasure of being his rival. Yeah, sure dude. And of course, he's my opponent in the first round. Can't this guy just go somewhere? Yeah, he got annihilated. This guy's such a loser. I beat a random girl, then Leaked was up next. He said he'd been studying my battle data and he knew he would win. Well, maybe he was right. He kept timing his jumps right when I shot the Gatling gun and it was whiffing. Not to mention, he had the sniper rifle equipped, so I just kept getting chunked every so often. I had my first loss of the game here. I was a bit scared cause I didn't know what happens if you lose. After the game saying you lose, it just immediately lets you try again. Well, that's quite generous. I'll admit, it felt good to finally have to do some level of strategy. I actually lost quite a few times here. There was one where I had a near comeback from being down 400 to 80, but I just couldn't finish him off. I like this. There's a lot of strategy with the map layout and all the different attacks you have, so it makes sense that there's a lot of depth to it. After losing for a 3rd time, it prompted me to fight him with his health reduced by 25%. Basically the game being like, hey, you seem to suck. Would you like us to give you a hand? I didn't take any of those buffs in this playthrough because it kinda defeats the purpose, I feel. I finally managed to take him out in a nail biter with a last second bomb. Oh, he has iframes! Whew! Dude, that was hard! What the heck? In the finals, I was up against Katleya, of course. She was assuming she was already going to win because she's the daughter of the president of the corporation running the tournament, then went on about the newspaper headlines about her win. Wow, she has just fully embraced nepotism. I had to put her in her place. Even that fancy Hornet gun couldn't stop me. I once again accepted my amazing trophy. Katlea's grandpa told her hopefully this makes her realize she's not the greatest thing ever. Now I had a second trophy in my room. Well, that was the icy half of the tourney, now time for the burning half. Jake was here and he said he was going to show me all about his American pride. That's weird. In the next room, Karin was with Yurie and Mamoru. Apparently there's been a rumor going around that Mamoru will retire at the end of the year, and he confirms it's true. He says his family wants him to focus on his education. You know what? Good call, dude. My first opponent was some new guy named Gosetsu. He said he heard about me from the other tourney, and he thinks I'm letting the fame go to my head. He had a new gun where it shot 3 fireballs in an outward pattern. However, his Robo was huge and slow, so the Gatling gun was just insane against him. Easy win. After the match, one of the officials asked to see the weapon he used. Apparently he was using an illegal part, but he just ran away before they could do anything about it. I beat an unnamed NPC, then took out Jake. I was against Hayao in the finals. He said, see, custom Robo's easy. Now he was going to prove it once and for all. He had this weird gun that launched a fire dragon at me. It did such big damage. You'd think it'd be easy to dodge since it's slow, but it wasn't. I just barely got out of this one with the win. At the awards ceremony, Hayao refused to show up. I think he doesn't care about this stuff, he just wants to beat me for some reason. My prize for winning both tournaments was I got to take part in an exhibition match with Mamoru. No one had won both championships since he did it. Now I had a third trophy in my room. Why are they getting made of lower tier metals? Before my match with Mamoru, Karin wanted to do some practice fights. She had this incredibly annoying gun that sends out water and stun locks me. It barely does any damage though, so I don't see how this thing could be useful. Before we could leave for the match, stupid Fukashi showed up and said I had to face him. No I don't? He said Mamoru should face the best commander and those other battles didn't count because he had old data. Luckily for me, some girl showed up saying he owed her money and he ran off. Well, I went to the amusement park to do my match with Mamoru. We were getting on well, but his sister Yurie collapsed just before we started. She was not doing so hot, so Mamoru ran over to her and canceled the match. He then took her to the hospital. The officials were scrambling to figure out what to do when an old man jumped down from the rafters. Apparently he's notorious because he's a middle-aged man who still plays with these things. His name is Robo and he wanted to fight me instead. He even brought his own custom Coliseum to use. Oh snap, this guy brought the tanker from Metal Gear Solid 2. Well, whatever, he got destroyed. The only thing special here is his Robo was an old man. Well, he thought one win wasn't good enough, so he made it best of 3. He even brought a second Coliseum to use. This one was weird because it tilts back and forth, like the ship getting rocked on the waves. The obstacles even slide across the ground with it. I beat him easily again, and he cried and ran off. That sure was weird. Well, that was the end of the event, I guess. We then ran to the hospital to check on Yurie. Apparently our mom was the one in charge of her treatment. She seemed like she had recovered well enough though. Hayao was just staring at us through the window, that's kinda weird. On the way out, some dude who looked like Guile showed up. Apparently this is Jiro, who got second place at the World Robo Cup last 2 years. He wanted to speak with Mamoru, but instead he asked us to come battle him. Well, the runner-up is good enough, I guess. Apparently he's been undergoing intense training on his own, so no one has seen him for a while. He got obliterated, then he commended me, but he said I didn't understand how to use bombs and that he took it easy on me. Dude, you got beat by like 600 HP, it wasn't even close. Everyone's such a sore loser in this universe. Yurie met up with us and walked me back to my house. She said she's always been weak, so she just stuck around her brother all her life. She never had any friends, but now she's got us. Aw, how sweet. The next day was the qualifiers for the World Robo Cup. The top 2 in this district would go on to compete. You'll never guess who my first opponent was. Of course, it was Fukashi. He showed up late, then he went on some spiel about he finally had a winning strategy with his new special move. Well, maybe he wasn't lying. His bombs were massive now and he had this new rolling attack. It was so annoying because he was invincible during it. Jumping was the only way to dodge. I'm ashamed to say I actually lost to Fukashi. I couldn't believe it. This guy is such a clown. Next time, I knew to just stay far away, and I won pretty easily. Next, I was fighting someone new named Subaru. Apparently, he's not from around here, but he came here to qualify in this region. His match was uneventful. He said he didn't care about winning, he just wanted to see what my abilities were about. That sure was weird. I then beat an unnamed NPC, then beat Karin, and was in the finals against Jiro. He got destroyed. The big Robos are easier for the Gatling gun. He was shocked he lost, but he had qualified for the Great Robo Cup anyway. Oh snap, now I had a 4th trophy. No more can fit though, so that's gonna be awkward. We went to the park and there was some kid crying about a Robo that beat up his in a back alley. That sure sounds weird, so we went to investigate. Well, this thing running around looked identical to my character. I got in a fight with it, and it wasn't really anything special. After defeating it, Subaru, Gosetsu, and a girl named Minamo showed up. They said this was an autonomous Robo and they were testing the prototype for it here. Apparently, they're from a criminal organization called Dread. We decided to go to the hospital where Karin's brother was interviewing our mom. He's got all the latest info on everything custom Robo. We told him about the autonomous one and he said it was still in the experimental phase, but nothing should be able to cause any serious damage. We told him we expected it was the Dread organization, so we went to our mom's lab to talk more privately. Her assistant Homura was rummaging around in there, and we demanded to know why. He said no use hiding it since we caught him. He's a spy for the Dread organization. The previous chief of medicine, Dr. Naruse, left behind some research on nanomachines for healing patients. Homura wanted to steal this for his boss at Dread. I can't really tell what happens here, but I think he tases our mom or something? What the heck? He runs out back, so we corner him. He brings out his own autonomous Robo, and Hayao says he's going to destroy it. However, he got wrecked, so we had to clean up his mess instead. He had that same dragon attack we saw before, except now it's gray. It did 150 damage per hit, which is nuts. It took me 3 tries to beat him. Well, now that his Robo's destroyed, surely we can take him into custody. Instead, he just whips out a jetpack and flies away. Wow. So we went back to the office and we learned that Dr. Naruse put research into developing nanomachines for use in medicine. His daughter had an incurable illness and he hoped this could help. That daughter's name? Yurie. Dr. Naruse died though, so she was still coming here for treatment under our mother. Well, sure doesn't sound good that these Dread guys have this stuff now. The next day, Karin just barged into my room while I was asleep. Talk about an invasion of privacy. We needed to go meet her brother to discuss the events of yesterday. Akira said he wanted to talk to us somewhere more private where no one could hear us. We went to the back room of City Hall. He told us about something happening called Dark Battles. It's where people fight in secret locations and gamble. The location of them changes constantly and it's hard to get into. Akira has 2 tickets for an upcoming one, so he's going to use one and have us take the other. Somehow, Hayao found us and said he wanted to come. Well, there's not enough tickets for you, buddy. So he said he wants to battle me and whoever wins gets to go. Sure, let's waste time. Just when it couldn't get any worse, Robokichi showed up out of nowhere. Apparently, he has some experience with dark battles, so he wants to make sure we're gonna be okay. Dude, I obliterated your face twice in a row before. He had some weird bubble attack this time around. I also love the Holosseum this time with the ground shape-shifting like that. Well, thankfully, no one else showed up to interrupt me. Akira and I went to the Nojima building to see what these dark battles were all about. Oh god, of course Fukashi's here, cause why wouldn't he be? He got kicked out and thankfully he didn't blow our cover. This place where the dark battles are looks like a casino, honestly. Also, why is Leaked here? I had to fight 3 battles to distract everyone while Akira gathers intel. Leaked wasn't surprised to see me here. He said dark battles are way more interesting. He had this weird attack where he sent out birds that hovered above then surged forward after a while. The arena was cool though. It's on a conveyor which is a bit annoying to deal with, but both people have to deal with it the same, so it's not like it's unfair or anything. If you fall in the lava you take quite a bit of damage. It's not an instant kill though. I lost Elite the first time, so I decided to finally change my legs. With the way I played, the ground legs were a great choice. You run faster but you can't jump very high. I wasn't jumping that much anyway. I barely won on the second try. Running faster was so nice. The other battles weren't really all that interesting. Once I'd done them, Akira said he wanted to see what's behind a door someone was guarding earlier. Down the hallway was Homura speaking with someone named Shinonome. Apparently there's a piece missing from the data he stole. You know, these guys remind me of Team Rocket. Finally, we went to another room where those three from earlier were supervising a ton of people all doing battles. We didn't know why they were having so many. Maybe because they want to do some evil plan with Custom Robo? On the way out, we were stopped by those three Dread commanders. They caught us sneaking out and realized we took pictures of the place. We didn't want to give them up, so they said they'd take them by force. You know, not like using weapons or sending guards at us or anything. Nah, Minamo is just gonna battle me in Custom Robo, and that'll make me give up the pictures somehow? I don't know if this was because of the translation patch or what, but Minamo just didn't do anything in this fight. Like, no matter what, just stood there. Well, I'll take a free win, I guess. Somehow we were able to get away by winning that battle. They aren't a very good organized crime unit. The next day was the Great Robo Cup Finals. Before we could enter though, we learned Yurie was kidnapped by Dread. I guess they wanted to extract her nanomachines for their research. None of us knew where their headquarters were though. Just when it couldn't get any weirder, that Robo-Kichi guy shows up. Of course he knows where Dread HQ is. He tells us to meet him at an empty warehouse in the port. Me, Akira, Karin, and Shinichi were going to meet Mamoru and infiltrate the Dread HQ. Upon leaving, Hayao stopped us and said he was coming too. Okay, sure, yeah, whatever. As long as it's not Fukashi. Aw crap, I spoke too soon. Somehow Fukashi learned about the plan and he wants in too. Ah god, guess we gotta take him. He's probably gonna cry if we don't. Apparently the entrance to their HQ is just under a random box in this warehouse. Wow, so well hidden. We wonder how he even knows about all this, but he says we don't really have time to talk. He also doesn't want to come with us. There was a comically large amount of stairs leading to the base. Fukashi was being super annoying the entire time. He said he wanted to sing his special theme song he wrote about himself. Then he said his gum got stuck to his Robo Cube. Then he said he was just gonna pee? I guess off the ledge or something? Oh my god, he's so weird. We all decided to split up once inside. I went into a room with 4 scientists with some generic dialogue. They must be doing evil things in here. Further down the hall was a room with a dark commander. He said if I was going to come into his practice room, then we had to fight. Yeah, sure, makes sense. The arena here was like a haunted mansion or something like that. The battle, though, was extremely free. Well, there were 2 dark commanders in the next room. Both of these fights are super easy as well. These Dread guys kinda suck. This hallway had glass separating the other side, and I could see Fukashi and Akira running away from some guards. Well, at least he's not dead. Then there was a room with 2 more dark commanders to fight. Ugh, just let me get to the leaders already. These people all suck. To my surprise, after beating them, Leaked appeared from the other room. He's been working with Dread and he thinks he can finally beat me. I swear, this guy gave me the most trouble of the entire game. It's just cause he runs around so fast. Probably would help if I tried to use a different gun, but oh well. Further into the lair, I found Mamoru battling 3 commanders at once. Aw man, I wish it would let me do that. It would be fun to have multiple opponents at the same time. Apparently, he's fought 20 battles since getting here, so he's kind of drained himself. Well, we were all doing alright, but then Fukashi and Akira ran in with like 10 guards chasing them. The others decided to stay back and hold them all off while I went ahead and tried to save Yurie. This battle began the gauntlet of Dread's Big 4, their strongest commanders. That sounds a bit familiar. First up was Gosetsu. The only thing I have a problem with battling in this game is the launch at the start. Here, I landed on my feet while he landed on his head. This just gives me the opportunity to get free hits off for no reason other than luck. When it happens the other way around, I'd get so frustrated. This battle was super easy, but it was interesting that the ground had ice physics. Next room, Minamo was waiting on me. The arena here was super weird. It was a big slope, so the camera would zoom out quite a bit if you were far away from each other. This fight wasn't too tough, although the gun she had was quite powerful, being able to hit me from anywhere. Homura was the 3rd member of the Big 4. He had that gray dragon gun, but this time the arena was surrounded by lava. This meant I'd get knocked back and land in it, making his attacks that much stronger. I couldn't really handle the pressure and died. Dang. I won next time though, only 1 member to go. Subaru was the last member, as expected. He said he didn't really care about the goals of Dread. He only joined to take part in the most intense battles possible. If I beat him, I'd get to meet Shinonome. Man, the arena we fought in was tiny. This is like Rust in Modern Warfare 2. Hey, it benefits me because I do well if I can stay close to them the entire time. He got absolutely destroyed. Finally, it was time. Shinonome was standing over Yurie, who was asleep or something. He said he wanted us to join Dread, but well, it doesn't seem like that's happening now. Then he naturally challenged me to a battle. Well, are you ready? No. Oh? So you don't care what happens to that girl in the capsule, then? I think it's hilarious that you get a choice as to battle him or not. It's only for fun, though. You have to say yes. This dude's gun split off into 2 directions. I'm not sure why you'd ever want to use it. If I stand directly in front of him, he has no way to hit me. It's kind of ineffective. I won without much trouble, and I thought that was that. However, after the battle, he said he wanted to fight again. Even the leader of the crime ring of the world is a sore loser. Come on. This time, it's the same arena except it's invisible. Well, at least it looks cool to fight here. He doesn't behave any differently though. After winning, Shinonome is in disbelief. Even though we only fight in legitimate battles, we still beat him. Sounds like you've encountered a skill issue, buddy. Then my friends arrive with the police and they arrest all of the Dread organization. Yurie was taken to the hospital to recover. Apparently, the Big Four and all the soldiers are kids, so they will just go to a short-term correctional facility. Shinonome was the only adult. Man, this guy's weird. Well, I guess the scientists were adults too. Katleya and Lambda Corps president showed up saying the Great Robo Cup finals were being postponed by a week. It would have kind of sucked to have all the best people not even show up. Well, after that it was finally time for the Great Robo Cup. Of course, stupid Fukashi was my first opponent. He wasn't even supposed to be in this, but I guess he begged his way in for helping at the Dread Raid. I'll admit, he was a bit harder this time around. Like, he just stayed in the air so long and I couldn't hit him. God, I hate losing to Fukashi. It just feels horrible. I swear, he was doing so much more damage than ever. I guess it's good that the final tournament was hard though. Finally, I won by just playing super passive and only shooting when I got close to him. That was actually kind of tough. My next fight was against Jake, the American guy. He was incredibly aggressive too, just like Fukashi. Watching this footage back, I was definitely not spamming bombs as much as I should have. But at the same time, they all had better ones than I had access to, so it was a little unfair. It took 3 tries to take him down. When he lost, he cried and whined for his mommy. What a baby. The 3rd round, I was against Katleya. I was actually doing extremely well on my first try, but then it just snowballed out of control. I went from 500 health to none in just a few seconds. I won 2nd try, no more throwing it away. A nice, easier match compared to last time. Jiro was my fight in the semifinals. His Robo had that annoying charge attack that makes him invincible, along with dealing 150 damage. It's wild how fast these guys move and how many explosions they send out compared to the fights at the start of the game. This time though, I won first try, a nice change of pace. In the finals, I was up against Hayao. He made sure to let me know we weren't friends, even though we infiltrated Dread together. Man, can this guy just let himself have fun for 1 second? I took him down 2nd try, not bad, not bad. After the match, he said he hopes I lose in the title match in humiliating fashion. Dude, you're never gonna have any friends acting like that. Well, it was finally time. Mamoru came up the staircase and it was time for us to fight. Our fights kept getting interrupted and this one won't. This is his last fight before he retires. I'll be honest, I was pretty excited to see how his fighting was. Well, he was certainly good. I'm gonna blame this one on the fact that I landed on my head and him on his feet. It feels like his Robo had it all. Speed, tankiness, and damage. Yeah, I didn't even take off half his HP before I died. Dude, look at this! He took 1/3 of my health before I even had a chance to do anything. Mamoru is legit. They should have had him take on the Big Four, not me. I'll be honest, I lost to this guy like 8 or 9 times. They certainly saved the hardest fight for last. I think my biggest issue was how his Robo didn't seem to get stunned from getting hit like I did. Man, these more intense fights just make me want to play this against other people so bad. I bet this would get really fun playing multiplayer. After I won, Mamoru congratulated me on playing well and that I'm the new champion. Then my friends jump over the rail of the crowd to join us. Some real good security they got at this place. It shows a pretty underwhelming awards scene where we're told people will want to follow in our footsteps and then the credits roll. Game complete. So yeah, there you have it, my journey to beating Custom Robo. Wow, what a game. It's wild that there's these games I've never heard of and they were just out there the entire time waiting to be fun. And you know what? We've got the sequel to look forward to later in this challenge. The game as a single player experience is a bit repetitive, but the thing you repeat is the fun part. The battles are so much fun. I feel like battling another human would be more interesting than the CPU, but those later battles definitely kept it interesting. It'd be neat to explore all the different weapons to see what your personal favorite could be. I could see it getting pretty technical. The variety of maps make the fights feel different too. I don't know, I've just never played anything like this before. It kind of reminds me of Smash Bros, but with robots in a way. It's a cool experience. The game runs great and the translation patch makes it accessible. If you don't have access to the patch, you don't really need to know Japanese to play this one anyway. I highly recommend checking this out for yourself. I gave it a 9 out of 10 for enjoyability and a 4 out of 10 for difficulty. Alright, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed. We had a randomized marble race to determine which game was next, so here's how that played out. Or skip to the timestamp on screen to skip straight to the game selection. There's 230 games on the list, not a viewer race, not making that mistake again. Let's see what we're playing next. Let's go. Alrighty, down we go. Who's the first out? It's Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, followed by Wheel of Fortune, and the next Turok game, which would be Turok 2. Coming along the split paths here, we're going to do a big old bounce, and Wheel of Fortune and Hercules launched into the air. Everybody bouncing. Destruction Derby Revolt. So many games out. Bunch of people. A Mahjong game fell. You love to see it. And it appears Hercules is the first we know. Blues Brothers takes the lead. I believe that's the Superman 64 team. Blues Brothers and Hercules, the leaders on the two paths. Turok falls down, but there are 3 Turok entries. And out of nowhere, next Legend of Zelda game, no, a little out of control, falls off the cliff. And this has got to be a fishing game. It says Tsuri. That means fishing in Japanese. Hercules Goemon, the 2D Goemon game. And the Japanese fishing game is coming through, but a little out of control, taking a big boost over these ramps. Will it survive, though? And it does! We're playing Itoi Shigesato no Batsuri number 1. Ketehan. That's definitely a fishing game. Alright, that was a quick one. Itoi Shigesato no Batsuri number 1, Ketehan. It has been decided. But yeah, if you're still here watching, you're awesome. Thank you so much. If you had a good time, consider hitting that like button, or maybe even dropping a subscription. Or hey, maybe even watch another one of these videos that's on screen now. And yeah, see you next time.